soot and grime, poverty and plight. The cobbled streets of Victorian London echoing with the sounds of horse-drawn carriages and the wails of street vendors. Amidst this chaotic symphony of sights and sounds existed a myriad of peculiar street jobs. Professions so unique and at times bizarre that they've even been all but forgotten in today's modern world. And that is exactly what we are here to discuss today. Hello my dear brothers and sisters from the United Kingdom. If you're between the ages of 30 and 45, this video will hit you differently. You may not have lived in Victorian times, but you heard the stories. From your nan, from your granddad, from those old dusty books on the shelf. Today I'm going to take you down a road that many have forgotten. A road filled with soot, gas lamps and strange little street jobs that once kept the heart of old England beating. So if you're someone who still remembers the smell of coal smoke in winter air, the sound of an old kettle boiling in your grandma's kitchen, or the stories of London's foggy streets, then stay with me, because what you're about to hear might just bring a tear to your eye. Let us explore 10 unbelievable street jobs from the Victorian era, real jobs now lost in time. 1. Mudlarks. Picture this. Grimy, wide-eyed children wading through the black, oozing mud of London's River Thames. They're not playing, they're working. These are the mudlarks, the forgotten scavengers of Victorian England, with clothes held together by hope and their skin perpetually stained with dirt. These resilient kids searched for anything of value that the river had deposited at its banks. Old, discarded metal, broken crockery, even bones that could be turned into fertilizer. Every find brought a few extra coppers, a little more hope for food for the day. Life as a mudlark wasn't just tough. It was a daily battle against the elements and a test of their small bodies enduring the stench of the river's filth. Yet they persevered, these tiny figures silhouetted against the backdrop of a polluted yet picturesque Thames. Their story is one of despair, yes, but also of remarkable resilience, a testament to the indomitable spirit of youth in the face of adversity. 2. Knocker-uppers. Imagine waking up not to the jarring ring of an alarm clock, but to the gentle tap of a wooden stick on your window pane. That was the charm of the knocker-upper, a profession that thrived in the pre-alarm clock days of Victorian England. These men and women, often elderly and with gruff voices honed by years of shouting over the din of the city, were employed by factory workers and tradesmen to ensure that they arrived at their workplace on time. Armed with long sticks and equipped with an uncanny knack for finding the perfect rhythm, the knocker-uppers would make their rounds in the early hours, gently rousing their employers from sleep. It was a vital service in a time when punctuality meant not just being on time, but being ready to start work without delay. 3. Link boys. Now let's turn our attention to a more perilous street job, that of the link boy. These young boys, often no older than 10, were employed to carry flaming torches and guide the way for the wealthy and well-to-do through the dark and often foggy streets of London. As the sun set, these pint-sized torchbearers would don leather aprons and arm themselves with hefty wooden staves. Balancing their torches high above their heads, they would traverse the treacherous streets, dodging stray animals, drunken pedestrians, and the occasional carriage. The dangers of this profession were many, with link boys frequently falling victim to the notorious London fog, or disappearing into the murky depths of the river. 4. Crossing sweepers. In the days before dedicated street sweepers, an enterprising few filled the void, quite literally. Enter the crossing sweepers. Young boys who stood at busy street corners and swept a clear path for wealthy ladies and gentlemen. With a simple broom in hand, they battled against the muck and grime that accumulated on the roads, making it possible for the higher society to navigate with a modicum of cleanliness for a few pennies and the occasional kind word. These mini street cleaners ensured that the wheels of commerce and social life kept turning smoothly. 5. Rat catchers. Ah yes, rat catchers. The unsung heroes and sometimes heroines of Victorian England. In a time when London's rat population seemed to know no bounds, these brave souls took matters into their own hands, or should I say paws. With an arsenal of tools ranging from mousetraps to ferret poles, they navigated the city's warrens of alleys and sewers, seeking out and exterminating the vermin. Some rat catchers even bit the rats to death, proving their dominance in a most primal way. Now, before we delve deeper into the fascinating, albeit sometimes macabre world of Victorian street jobs, I want to ask you a favor. If you're enjoying this journey through time, please hit that like button. It's just a simple gesture that helps us immensely and allows us to continue bringing history to life for you. Thank you. 6. Resurrectionists. Lastly, we delve into the shadowy world of the resurrectionists, as the name suggests. These individuals were involved in the rather morbid business of supplying corpses for medical schools and hospitals. With the demand for cadavers high and ethical sourcing low, they turned to grave robbing, unearthing the recently deceased and selling their bodies to eager anatomists. It was a dangerous, underhanded profession, but a necessary evil in the eyes of many, as it provided the means to advance medical knowledge despite the prevailing taboo. What did you think of these intriguing street jobs of the past? Which one surprised you the most? And would you have dared to partake in any of them? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're there, don't forget to hit that like button to support our historical escapades. Thanks for joining me on this journey through time. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and above all, keep learning, because every day is a new adventure in the grand tale of human history. 7 Toshers. Imagine a city, not just any city, but London, the heart of England in the 1800s. Now picture yourself not strolling down the posh Oxford Street, but crawling through the grime and muck of the city's sewer system. That's what the Toshers did. They were the urban spelunkers of their time, braving the darkness and the stench to find lost coins, trinkets, or anything valuable that could be sold. Their workday started with a hefty dose of stale waste and chamber pots. Yes, the night soil that emptied directly into the Thames. They dodged piles of rotting food and other unsavory items while searching for treasures. Life as a Tosher was anything but glamorous. They lived in filth, surrounded by disease and the threat of injury. The tunnels were their realm, though. They knew every twist and turn, every nook and cranny better than the streets above. It was a dangerous profession. One wrong move and you could be buried alive in the muck. Yet they persevered, these men of the underground, driven by the promise of finding something worth a few extra shillings. 8. Chimney sweeps. Now let's talk about another filthy job. Chimney sweeps. In the days before mechanical sweepers, chimneys got filthy. So dirty, in fact, that they needed small boys to climb inside the narrow chimneys to scrub away the soot. These boys, some as young as 4 years old, would climb up the chimney with a brush and a bag. They brushed away the soot and collected the debris, which they dropped into a waiting container below. It was hard, dangerous work. They often coughed black smoke and sometimes got stuck in the chimney. Many didn't survive the job, dying young from complications related to breathing in tons of soot. But even those who lived were permanently marked by the experience. Their skin was often covered in soot, making them look like chimney sweeps. Despite the danger, it was a trade some families relied on. For a few pennies a day, they sent their children up the chimneys, hoping to give them an honest trade. Little did they know it was an honest trade that would take their children's lives. 9. Leech collectors. Let's move on to a different kind of collector, the leech collectors. These men and women weren't after coins or stamps. No. They collected leeches. These slimy worms were a popular tool in the medical field during the 17th and 18th centuries. Doctors used them for bloodletting, the process of removing blood to cure various ailments. The idea was that by sucking out bad blood, they could cure everything from headaches to epilepsy. Naturally, they needed lots of leeches, and these collectors were there to supply them. The collectors would wade barefoot into murky swamps and ponds, letting the leeches cling to their legs. When the worms were full, they pulled them off, cleaned them up, and sold them to the doctors. It wasn't the most sanitary practice, but it was an effective one. The leeches would often stay attached to the person being bled, making the whole process much easier. It was a painful, dangerous, and slow process, but it paid well for the time. So many risked their health and safety to collect these slimy creatures. 10. Pure finders. Alright, now brace yourself for the ultimate shocking job, pure finders. Yes, you heard that right. These people walked the streets of London collecting dog poop. They gathered the piles of excrement in buckets and delivered them to the tanneries. At the tanneries, the poop was used to help soften the leather during the tanning process. Don't ask me how it worked. But hey, in the 1800s, they had a saying, find a man's metal, find a woman's chamber. Basically, if you wanted to make some money, you had to do whatever it took. And for some, that meant scouring the streets for dog poop. Yeah, it was nasty, but it was also necessary. The purifinders were part of a long-forgotten trade, one that's thankfully gone away now. But hey, at least they were doing their part to keep the streets clean, right? And that's all for today. We hope you enjoyed this journey through some of the weirdest jobs of the past. Remember, these jobs may seem crazy today, but they were once lifelines for many families. They a reminder of how far we've come and how tough life was for many people in the past. And if you want to learn more about these amazing stories, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We've got a ton of similar videos that are sure to blow your mind. Thank you for watching. Until next time.